So now I'm joined by none other than President Shammah Kiteme to just give us an executive summary of the 4 days and also what we need to look at going forward in as far as matters engineering is concerned. Thank you very much, President, for your time.
Thank you.
Now, we had the head of public service here as a chief guest, and he had quite a lot to say. But one key issue that he pointed out is that the issue of professionalism, seemingly throwing the ball to you on your corner as engineers. What's your take in regard to that matter?
Thank you very much. I want to really thank the head of public service, Mr. Felix Koskei, for honoring our invitation to join us as a chief guest. And he really opened the conference. It is now systems to go. This 32nd IEK International Convention, we are focusing on engineering the future, the roadmap for Kenya. Now, the chief guest rightfully challenged us about the issue of professionalism, and this is actually a continuing conversation. It is very important for us to remain professional even as we execute our work. We have seen a tendency to replace professionals with non-professionals. We have seen a tendency to want to do what is reserved for professionals when you're not a professional. We have also seen the place for quacks taking the place for professionals. And so the head of public service is spot on. And I agreed with him, even backstage, and I told him, you've done the right thing to point this thing out because society needs to engage professionals, and the professionals that are engaged needs to deliver professional services. That means we act with responsibility.
All right. So what do you think is driving this particular gaps in the engineering space?
No, we agree the fact that the government is very deliberate on heavy investment in infrastructure. And His Excellency the President, during the State of Union address, he pointed out on 4 key things, including investment in people and power upgrade, installed capacity for power, but also the issue of logistics, transportation and logistics, and also increasing our space to make sure that we are net exporter and not importer. So the heavy investment in infrastructure space puts the pressure to make sure that there is accountability, there is fiduciary responsibility by those entrusted to implement this infrastructure. And therefore, I strongly agree with the head of public service that we must demonstrate professionalism, we must demonstrate accountability, and we must bring value to the work that we do, because ultimately we are responsible to Kenyans for their taxes.
All right. Now, President, what is IEK doing to, enforce accountability?
Number one, we have a professional code of ethics that guides what our members should abide by. And this is disseminated, our members are aware. Part of the training is making sure that you understand the professional code and of ethics. And when we test to certify that you're a qualified engineer and a professional, we want to test that you actually understand this aspect. And therefore, we are continuously engaging our members in continuous professional development and making them aware, having case studies for when things have gone wrong, and demonstrating what we need to do to make sure that things go right. We are involving experienced professionals to talk to young engineers in mentorship sessions and all that. So we are very deliberate in investing to make sure that our members, these are all engineers, live up to the professional expectations that Kenyans put on them.
All right. So Kenya has over 18,000 graduate engineers, but fewer than 4,000 professional engineers. Why are many young engineers, stuck without work or pathways to licensing?
A very good question, Regina, because as this country now focuses on heavy investment in infrastructure, and we're very grateful to His Excellency the President that the rollout of the aggressive plan the budget is about 5 trillion now. We have seen instances where infrastructure implementation leaves out locals. And even today, we are pressing the head of public service and telling him, let us not have Kenyan engineers, spectators in infrastructure being rolled out in this country. What we're saying is that as engineers, to qualify and become a professional engineer, there's a critical element of getting hands-on experience, so that when now you get certification and become a professional engineer, you actually have experience to take professional responsibility. And we're saying, for this to happen, the engineers who are graduate engineers, and you say 18,000, they're actually more, about 23,000. They actually need to be involved in project hands-on, so that then they get the right experience, and then when now they face the professional examination, they're able to pass, because they must submit a project they have done and demonstrate they can make professional judgment because of getting experience post-graduation.
All right. There's been a conversation, and you have actually been quoted saying that you need to ring fence, graduate engineering, engineers' participation in PPP projects. How would this, policy shift help in addressing this issue?
Well, it will help in creating opportunities for young engineers. Now, let me say from the word go, the legal infrastructure framework, the instruments we have, they already allow this.
Yeah.
What we do have is the behavior to override the current laws that we have in this country, because they expressly provide for local content. They expressly provide for the need for technology and skills transfer. They expressly provide for the need for engineers to be involved as we develop our infrastructure. They are express provisions. And therefore, if we were to implement this, what we do, we will not only create the workforce available for the country now, but also in the future.
All right.
Which means then the PPP projects we are implementing, they will have technical experts who are able to maintain the infrastructure going forward.
All right. There are those who have said that these PPP projects need to be itemized. What is your take in that, when as far as transparency and accountability is concerned?
Well, I believe itemization means being able to account shilling for shilling.
Yes. So
that then we know that Kenyans are getting value for the money, because ultimately Kenyans pay for this, whether it is through tolling, whether it's through direct funds, and so many other innovative models that we are coming up with. And there must be traceability of the resources plowed into these infrastructure projects. Whether it is a PP project, whether it's another model, there must be evidence that we get value for every shilling that we use in this project. And I agree with the concerns that are being raised, that we need to itemize and understand what is this that Kenyans are paying for this 1 kilometer of road. And more importantly, does it constitute value for money?
Good question. Now, for value for money, there are those who've also argued, President, that seeking the services of a professional engineer, local professional engineer, is too expensive. What is your take in regard to such sentiments?
Regina, that's a misguided notion, and I'll tell you, because if you go to a hospital today, when you are sick, you care more about getting well than the cost you're spending to get well. If today you have a matter that you're taking to court, you want to look for the best advocate to make sure that your petition in court succeeds. In a similar manner, if we want good infrastructure, we need to be able and prepared to pay for good brains who are engineers to implement good infrastructure solutions. I will tell you, if you engage a qualified, experienced, and licensed professional, you will have a safe infrastructure. Compare that with the costs of developing infrastructure that then collapses, killing people and all that. It is incomparable. So let us disabuse the notion that engaging engineers is expensive. It is not. It is not. It adds value to your investment. and to the infrastructure that you're developing.
All right. We have 2 more days to run for this particular convention. So as we bring this to a close, how can then engineers, ensure sustainability and climate resilience are integrated into every stage of the project design and execution?
Thank you very much. One of the key concerns that we are focusing on is resilience. We have been involved in development of standards to make sure that the infrastructure we design is resilient. It will stand against disruptions of the nature, like what we have seen, fires, we have seen floods, we have seen cyclical return, climate situations which are affecting huge populations. Our work as engineers is to design infrastructure that will withstand the shocks of nature. And we have developed standards. We are increasingly retooling our members so that they are capable of being able to respond to this. What we're saying is that if we know that climate change is a reality, we should be able to design infrastructure where, in case of extreme weather, for example, the infrastructure will be able to continue to serve the purpose it was put out for. And in instances of these events, even the recovery is fast. We don't go down because of these extreme weather events or climatic conditions that are adverse and severe. I can tell you with a guarantee that our members are now retooled, retrained, experienced, and they understand pretty much how to respond to these issues so that we ensure that we embed sustainability and climate resilience in the infrastructure that we are developing. What
are you doing as IEK to also show up capacity where women or rather female engineers are concerned? The numbers are quite minimal, so to speak.
IEK is very much involved in mentorship. We are all over the country. Turkana, Siaya, Meru, Nyeri, Lamu. We are talking to young girls and encourage them to take a career in engineering. We are actually the biggest STEM advocates in this country. We are into high schools, talking to young girls and telling them that a career in engineering is rewarding.
All right.
We have created the Young Future Leaders Committee. We have created Women Engineers Committee, and all of them are actively and aggressively involved in mentoring and shoring up the numbers. And we are getting better.
All right.
By
now,
the day.
If you were to sum up, Kenya's engineering future in one sentence, what must change today, to unlock national prosperity and global competitiveness? What would that be?
Well, a big question, to be honest. But I must start by assuring our viewers that Kenyan engineers are the best we'll get anywhere. The issue is we need to involve them in the infrastructure we are developing. It can never be more brighter for engineers in this country, especially after the speech by His Excellency the President on the new priorities during the State of Union address. It can never be more brighter. And we are capable, we are ready, we are willing, we are stepping on the accelerator to be at par with the vision that the government has set out for this country.
Very well said. That's just but a sneak preview of what has been happening for the last 4 days here. This is a 32nd IEK convention themed around the future of Kenya when it comes to engineering. In fact, the theme is engineering the future. We have been speaking to none other than the IEK President, that is Engineer Shammah Kiteme, putting into perspective what has been happening and looking forward where everybody is included, government, academia, as well as industry. Now, I'm Regina Manyara. I hand you back to Broadcasting House.